Hello everyone and welcome to Social Science class. In this class we are going to see the chapter number 8 of Civics. I request you please continue with me. Chapter number 8, Rural Livelihood. In this chapter we are going to see about this following topic. The story of the village Kalpattu. After that we are going to see the agricultural laborers and farmers in India. After that we will see the question answers and we are going to discuss in this class. I request you, this chapter is focusing on the rural livelihood. How the village people, the rural areas peoples managing their life. How their livelihood is arranged by themselves we are going to see. First, at the starting of this chapter, we are having one photograph. The photograph is asking few questions. First, we will have a discussion on that. So, I request you, please proceed with me. Point number 1. In the first chapter, we looked at the many kinds of diversities in our life. We also explored how living is different in region, has effect and the work of the people, kind of the plants, trees, crops or things become important to them. So here in this chapter, we will look at the different way in the people earn their living. How they are managing their livelihood. अपने जीवन को जीने के लिए जीविका बनाने के लिए वो क्या काम करते हैं. And here too, as in the first two chapter, we will examine whether people have equal opportunity to earn living. Then we are going to have a comparison whether the peoples are getting an equal opportunity to earn money or to have a job. We will look at the similarity in their life situation and problems that they face. So, here in this introduction part is speaking about how the village peoples are struggling, how the village peoples are living comfortable life, how the different occupations are peoples are performing in the village we are going to see. Next, first the photograph. This is the photograph placed in your textbook and after that 1, 2 and 3 questions are there. So this is your homework. Please see it carefully. In this photograph, what you are going to do? By seeing the photograph, you have to describe the work that you see people doing in the above picture. Next, identify the different types of work that are related to farming and those that are not. List these in the table. Next, third question. In your notebook, draw some pictures of work that you have seen people do in rural village areas and write few sentences about that work. So here is that page. The first one we already discussed. The second one is the photograph. Deeply observe the photograph and answer these 3 questions. Next, moving further to the story of the village Kalpattu. Kalpattu is a village that close to the sea coast in Tamil Nadu. People here do many kinds of jobs. They are farming and non-farming. So, non-farm work such as basket making, utensils, pot, rigs and bullock carts. There are people who provide service such as blacksmith, nurse, teachers, washerman, weavers, barber, cycle repairs and machinery. Cycle repair and machinery. So these are the work done in the village Kalpattu. We are going to have one question at the last. What type of the works the peoples are engaged in the village Kalpattu? So this will be the answer from this paragraph. You have to write the answer. Next, there are also some shopkeepers and traders. In the main street, which look like a bazaar, you will find a variety of small shops, just as a tea, grocery shops, barber shop, a cloth, a tailor, 2 fertilizer and seed shop. So by seeing this paragraph, you are understanding the total scene of the village area. How the village area looks like. Just we used to move in our village, we are seeing the small shops, small tea shops, some grocery shops like that. This village is also there. Next, There are 4 tea shops which sell tiffin such as idli, dosai, upma in morning and snacks like vadai, bonda and Mysore pak in the evening. Near the tea shop in a corner live a blacksmith family whose home serves as the workshop. Next to their home is a cycle hire or repair shop. 2 families earn a living by washing the clothes. There are some people who go to the nearby town to work as construction worker and a lorry driver. The village is surrounded by low hill. Paddy is the main crop that is grown in irrigated land. Most of the families earn a living through agriculture. So dear cadets, by seeing this scenario, you are understanding the story of the village. Kalpattu is speaking about how the peoples are living, what occupation they are doing there, which type of shops are there, and who is doing which job to earn their living. There are some coconut groves around. Coconut, they are growing. Next, cotton, sugarcane and plantains so grow. And there are mango orchards. Let us now meet some people who work in the field in Kalpattu and see what you can learn about farming from them. First, we are going to see this one. So as in the photograph you are seeing the people are planting paddy here. So in the textbook the photograph is placed here, right? So men and women both are engaged in this agriculture activity. Next, Tulasi. We are going to see about the first story of Tulasi. All of us here work on Ramlingam's land. He has 20 acres of paddy fields in Kalpattu. Even before I was married, I used to work on paddy fields in my parental village. I worked from 8:30 in morning till 4:30 in evening. And the Karutamma, Ramlingam's wife, supervises. This is one of the few times in the year that I find regular job. So Tulasi is speaking about the routine. Now I am transplanting the paddy. When the plants have grown a bit, Ramlingam will call us again for weeding and then finally once again at the time of harvesting. When I was young, I could do this work with no difficulty, but now I have grown older. I find bending for long hours with my feet in water very painful. Ramlingam pays ₹40 per day. This is a little less than what laborers get in my home village. But I come here because I can depend on him to call me whenever there is work. Unlike other, he does not go looking for cheaper labor from the other villages. My husband Raman is also a laborer. We don't own any land. During this time of the year, he sprays pesticide. When there is no work on the farm, he finds work outside, either loading stand from the river or the stone from the coin nearby. There is sent by a truck to be used in nearby towns, make houses. So by reading the Tulasi story, you are understanding how the poor, landless farmers are managing their life. Tulasi is narrating the story before marriage and after marriage. She is also describing the amount of money she is getting after doing the farm laboring job. Right? Next, proceed to the next story. Apart from working on the land, I do all the tasks at home. I cook food for my family, clean the house and wash clothes. I go with the other women to nearby forest to collect the firewood. See how difficult the job Tulasi she is living. And very hardship for doing the rural area. About 1 kilometer away we have a village borewell from where I fetch water. My husband helps in getting materials such as groceries for the house. Our school-going daughters are the joy of our lives. Last year, one of them fell ill and had to be taken to the hospital in town. We had to sell our cow to pay back the money we borrowed from Ramlingam for her treatment. By reading this and by listening this one, you are understanding how the poor landless, because they don't have their own piece of land, are living their very difficult life, how they are struggling very hard to have their livelihood in the rural area. Next, you saw in Tulasi's story, poor family in a rural area often spend a lot of time every day collecting firewood, getting water, grazing their cattle, even though they do not earn any more money from the different activities. Have to go there for the household. The family need to spend time doing as they are not able to survive on the little money they earn. Nearly 2/5 of all rural families are agricultural labor in our country. There are some who have small plot of land while others like Tulasi are landless, not being able to earn money throughout the year and force people in many rural areas to travel a long distance in search of work. And this travel or migration takes place during the particular season. Next, we are going to see about the story of Shekhar. We have to carry this paddy to our house. My family has just finished harvesting our field. We don't own much land, only 2 acres. We managed to do all the work on our own. So first story we had seen about Tulasi, and now we are seeing the story of Shekhar. Next, moving in the story, at times especially during the harvest, I take the help of other small farmers and turn them harvest their field. The trader gave me seeds and fertilizer as a loan. To pay back this loan, I have to sell my paddy to him at somewhat lower price than I would get in a market. He has sent his agent to remind farmers who have taken loans that they will sell the paddy to them only. Next, I will probably get 60 bags of paddy from my field, and some of this I will sell to settle the loan. The rest I will use in my house. But whatever I will have last only 8 months, so I need to earn some money. I work in Groundling's rice mill. Here I help him collect paddy from other farmers in a neighboring village. We also have a hybrid cow whose milk we sell in a local milk cooperative. This way we get a little extra money for our everyday needs. So here the story of Shekhar is speaking about how they are doing different jobs to manage their household work to their livelihood. Next, on being debt. As you are seeing and reading about that, the farmer like Shekhar need to borrow money to purchase the basic things like seeds, fertilizers and pesticides. Often they borrow this money from the money lenders or landlord. If the seeds are not good quality or pest attack will be there, so there is going to be huge loss and a crop failure. Next, the crop can also be ruined too if the monsoon does not bring enough rain. When this happens, the farmers sometimes are unable to pay the loan. And what will happen if they are not paying the loan back? The family is how survive and even have to borrow more money, and soon the loan becomes so larger, so no matter what they earn, they are unable to repay it again. This is when we can say they are catching debit. In recent years, many has been a major distress among the farmers, and the farmers are committing suicide because of this. The crop failure, by the natural disaster, by the water scarcity, by the less rainfall, so many reasons are there. So farmers are committing suicide because they are not able to repay the loan. In having the afraid of they will lose their land and everything, so they are committing the suicide. Next, Ramlingam and Karutham. Next point we are going to see about Ramlingam and Karutham. Moving further, in addition to land, Ramlingams, a family own a rice mill and a shop selling seeds, pesticide, etc. For the rice meal, they use some of their own money and also borrow from the government bank. They buy paddy from within the village and from the surrounding village, and then the rice that is produced in the meal is sold to the trader in nearby towns, give them a subsistence income. How Ramling is also earning. Agriculture, labor and farmers in India. In Kalpattu village, as you are seeing, the agricultural laborers like Ulasi and many small farmers like Shekhar and a big farmer like Ramlingam. In India, nearly 2 or out of every 5 rural families are agriculture laborer family. And at the particular season only, at the time of sowing, at the time of weeding, at the time of harvesting, only they used to get the job in the agriculture field. All of them depend on the work they do on other people field to earn a living. Many of them are landless and others who may own very small plot of land. In case of small farmer like Shrikar, the land is barely enough to meet their needs. In India, 80% of the family members, farmer members belong to this group only. Next, only 20% of India's farmers are like Ramlingam. They are the large farmers which cultivate on a more land piece and sell the product and gain more profit, and started their business such as shops, money lending, trading, small factories, etc. We have looked at farming in Kalpattu. Apart from this, many people in rural area depends on collecting from the forest, animal husbandry, dairy produce and fishing, etc. Or example, in village in a central India, both farming and collection of from the forests are important source of livelihood. For their livelihood, they are doing farming and non-farming both the activities, right? Next, collecting mahua, tindua leaves, honey to sold the trader. These are all the forest products they used to collect and sell in the market, and an important source of additional income. Similarly, selling milk to the village cooperative society or taking milk to the nearby town may be the main source of livelihood or for the some family. In coastal area, we find fishing village. Village peoples are doing fishing. Let us find out more about the lives of fishing family by reading about Aruna and Urmila, who live in Pudupat, a village close to Kalpat. Next, moving to the next story. This story is speaking about the people, those who are managing their livelihood by selling or catching the fish. Not very far from Kalpattu is the village Pudupat. People here are, they are living by fishing. You can see the photograph present in the textbook. Their houses is cardamom and net lying around. At about 7 o'clock in the morning, there is a lot of activities on the beach. There is a time when the cardamom, right, catamarans, turn with their catch and the women gather to buy and sell fish. My husband, Parivan, my brother and my brother-in-law returned late today. I was very worried. They go to the sea together in our catamaran. They said they were catch in a storm. I kept aside some fishes for the family. I will audit the rest. The money I get from the addiction will be divided into 4 shares, one for each person who went fishing, and 4th one is for the equipment. Since we own the catamaran, engine and net, we get the share too. We have taken a loan from a bank and purchased an engine which is fixed in the catamaran. Now they can go far into the sea so that they can get a better catch. Here we are going to see about the family, those who are managing their livelihood by catching the fish from the sea. and difficulties are also there. Some time they can trap in the storm also, right? The story narration speaking about how they are dividing the equal share among all those who are a part and participant in the fishing. The women who buy fish here will carry them a basket to be sold in nearby village. Then there are others like the traders who buy for the shop in the town. I will only finish then by noon. In the evening, my husband and other relatives will untangle and repair our net. Early tomorrow morning around 2 a.m., they will set out to the sea again. Every year for at least about 4 months during the monsoon, they cannot go to the sea because this is when the fish breed. During this month, we survive by borrowing from the trader. Because of this, later on we are forced to sell fish to that traders only. Cannot do our custom dues. Lean months are the most difficult. Last year we suffered a lot because of the tsunami. So tsunami is the phenomenon already I explained 2-3 times. When an earthquake occurs under the water, that's the situation. Natural disaster is called tsunami. It was firstly introduced in 2004, the word tsunami, right? Next we are going to see about rural livelihood. People in rural areas earn their living in various ways. Some works on farm while others earn their living on non-farm activity. Working on the farm involve operations such as preparing land, sowing, weeding, harvesting to the crop, or depend on the nature of growth of these crops. Hence life revolves around a certain season and people are engaged in different activities related to farming. However, we do find similarity in their situation in the problems that they face. And here again we are seeing how the peoples are managing their livelihood by selling the crops in the market, by taking the money from the traders, and how difficult things they are doing for their livelihood. Next, in this chapter we have seen about the life of the people, those who are living in a rural area. The last slide was speaking about how the difficult situation they are facing. I request you read this chapter properly. After that, only the 2 questions we are going to attempt in the examination from this chapter. Please check out the question and answer out. Question number 1 for you. Right? Question number 1 is speaking about, you have probably noticed that the people in Kalpattu are engaged in a variety of non-farm work. So you have to list out which are they. So they are, already I told you from which paragraph you have to extract, just like making basket, utensil, pots, bricks, bullock carts, teaching, washing clothes, weaving, repairing, cycle and all. This type of answer you can write in your own notebook. Only 2 questions you have to do. Next question number 2. List the different types of people you read in the Kalpattu who depend on farming. Who is poorest among them and why? So we are listing. So these are the people, Tulasi, Shekhar and Ramlinga. So who is the poorest among? So Tulasi is the poorest because she is landless lady. Okay? And how? This already we have seen. Please read this chapter. I request you. After that, write the question and its answer. So the answer is here. Next, lastly, I want to say thank you to each and everyone. I request you, please do the homework, take the photograph and please send to me. Thank you to each and everyone for watching this video. Be safe and secure at your home. Jai Hind.